When I think of going to the arcade, a few games spring to mind, but one that shines through is the classic rail shooter. We've all seen it, an arcade cabinet with a couple of guns in there, sometimes red and blue guns. Often they'll be matched with screens where you will be able to shoot enemies and guzzle credits. Some games like this that come to mind are of course the incredible Time Crisis series, with Time Crisis 4 being my absolute favourite. You might also think of Ghost Squad or maybe even the spooky House of the Dead. This market was ruled by Sega and Namco, both developing incredibly engaging arcade experiences with snappy controls and boss battles just tough enough to separate the good players from the spenders. It was around the peak of the arcade shooter, the late 90s to early 2000s, when Yoshinori Tomoyasu teamed up with House of the Dead creator Takashi to create a brand new title named Vampire Knight. This would be a revamped, modern day version of the arcade shooter, inspired by current trends at the time. What would end up being created is not only the incredibly fun arcade shooter with new mechanics that would be carried on to later arcade games, but one full of style, B-grade goodness, and some of the world's coolest boss battles in arcade history. This, my friends, is Vampire Knight, where a 300-year-old war will be settled. You will determine
who shall live and who shall die. Vampire Knight.
We're here at last.
Yes. How long I've waited for this moment.
Let us settle this once and for all. Who shall live and who shall die?
Looks like nothing survived here, too. They're coming.
Vampire Knight consists of 6 stages, the first being Scarlet Snow Prelude. This isn't really a proper level compared to any other in the game, just something small to dip your toes into and get used to the gameplay. Vampire Knight's gameplay is the same as pretty much any other rail shooter on the market. Point and click to shoot, with 3 lives, reload by shooting off screen. I played this both on the PS2 with my CRT and G-Con 2, and my Sinden light gun on an emulator, and they both handle extremely well. As you shoot the undead hordes, you can really see the reflection of that 2000s era in the character designs, UI, and of course, the music. The first real change we get in this game is with the civilians, in which we can save them by shooting the enemy that's attached to them. If you miss, well, you'll need to keep shooting.
The creatures of the dark.
Vampire hunters.
That is the entire first stage, an incredibly fast one, even by rail shooter standards. From here on out though, the chapters get way more meat on the bones, and even have varying pathways you can take, encouraging multiple playthroughs.
As might have been expected of a vampire hunter.
Wonderful. What interesting experimental material they are.
As expected. Not bad.
Interesting. Let's see them do better.
Wait!
Let's go.
Yeah.
There is just something about the absolutely awkward plain dialogue mixed with the visuals that just scratches my brain the right way. It really is a good B-grade romp. Now, after failing to save the young girl at the beginning of the stage, we are taken down an alternate lower pathway through the town streets, where we are introduced to more enemy types. There's a good amount of enemy variety throughout the entire game, and the civilians in which you can save also provide a good chance to really test your accuracy, and it encourages you to go back through the levels and see if you can save everyone. Now, if you save enough civvies, they can give you a bunch of buffs, including health ups, which are crucial if you want to complete the game, because, well, if you run out of credits, you have to start all the way back at Chapter 1, even in the home release. Vampire Knight, like most railgun shooters, are pretty short, so even if you do get a game over, it will only be setting you back 20 to 30 minutes, although those will be 20 to 30 very sweaty minutes. Alongside that, something I've always loved about these arcade games in a home setting is it makes you feel like you're cheating almost, paying a small premium so you won't need to keep syncing credits to complete the game. Then when you head back to the arcade, you can finish the entire game with just a handful of credits. After making our way back through the town, it's time for the first boss, who is actually my favorite in the entire game due to his absolute aura.
Stay back!
Amazing. Your powers. I am the one who serves the vampire. What a joy. Finally meet such powerful ones. Draw your guns. Don't disappoint.
Something I find so funny about this guy is that he talks about having honor and talks about you being a strong, worthy opponent. But you're strong because you've got a gun. You'll start off this fight having to hit him as he dances and disappears around you. As the fight goes on, he'll continue to chase you ultimately through a tower and into the woods, where at times he can be pretty damn hard to spot as he throws swords at you, and you have to shoot them out of the air before they hit you. It's an incredibly fast-paced, intense boss fight that is a great introduction to Vampire Knight and its mechanics. The whole aesthetic of the town and the forest itself as well is so classic fairy tale, I absolutely adore it. The last phase of the boss takes place inside a church of some kind, where he shows his true form, and you have to expend even more bullets into his head as he flings rubble and beams of energy at you. You better hope your shots are accurate. Now, in Vampire Knight, each boss has something called a cancel gauge underneath its health bar when it's using a certain type of attack. You gotta deal enough damage that the bar depletes. Once it has, it stops a devastating attack coming your way. This adds an additional layer of pressure to the fight, especially since you know a big attack is coming, and if you don't stop it, well, it could lead to a game over. But as long as you stay calm and aim for the head, this guy will go down with no problems. And you will complete the second stage of Vampire Knight.
Why protect the humans? What are you fighting for? Why?
Light! The shadow. Is there no way to free us from fate?
Lose to humans? We are not made for defeat. You're no vampire. Have you gone crazy? Pointing a gun at me?
Don't worry. This gun knows who to destroy.
What a coincidence. I know too. And it's you!
Stage 3, Burning Rhapsody, takes place inside the great halls of the vampire's castle. It's quite a change of pace from the previous levels, and honestly, many other rail shooters. This vampire scientist man starts to throw flaming balls at you, which bounce unpredictably towards you for a good majority of the level. You also do have various other enemies to deal with and constant winding pathways that make this level really engaging to get through. Alongside the added stress of him kidnapping the young girl, I really enjoy the amount of variety that Vampire Knight's given so far. It might just be because I'm so used to Time Crisis, but Vampire Knight really does feel like a fresh breath of air. After working our way through the tunnels and into an elevator, we finally confront the scientist, who transforms into a flying abomination. He's incredibly hard to hit, being far away and constantly moving, with the window for the cancel gauge being quite tight. I seriously love the backdrop for this entire section as well, with the snow falling across these huge ruined towers, the characters leaping between broken bridges to help enhance the scale. Some sections literally look like a painting as you blast this man down. Now, despite his quick movements and small windows for cancelling attacks, the bosses in Vampire Knight don't feel that unfair compared to most arcade games. I felt as though the mistakes I made were mainly my own rather than a quick unavoidable attack that was made to take money from me. And after a few more bullets and a few more mistakes, we make it through to defeat him and save the young girl.
So, that's the way it is it? Me, defeated by humans? Never!
She's been defeated.
He deserved it.
You still can't forget about her.
What do you know? What I have lost, the pain I have suffered! Now, let's see what a human can do.
Thank you for rescuing me.
There's no need to thank us. We're here too.
They're coming.
Scene 4 starts off strong, with the appearance of vampires who can use portals. You've then got teleporting enemies that throw chakrams, among many other new creatures. Every stage in Vampire Knight has such a different atmosphere to it due to the architecture of the castle itself and the constant enemy varieties. It really helps set the bosses and stages apart and makes the overall experience a real standout one, especially due to the winding pathways that once again give you a lot more replay value. The next boss quickly appears, giving you a taste of his menace before more enemies who throw dark portals begin to attack. This might be my favorite stage in the game purely for the absolute wackiness of the enemies and the castle itself. I can't help but wonder what other secrets this place holds as I watch reality shift and dimensions open up. We are finally led to a library where more mirages of the boss appear, and after some more bullets, we are treated to a middle school level theater performance of a man turning into a vampire.
You humans make me remember I couldn't save her. This pain, to heal my pain, I shall sacrifice my soul and be a vampire. Humans, heal my soul!
Now, despite this goofy acting, this man means business and is our hardest boss yet, dealing with incredibly fast and teleporting movement from him as he controls his avatar at the same time. You gotta make sure to hit him and not his avatar while it's hurling meteors, which we can shoot luckily. This boss really warns us of things to come, as a lot of these patterns are shared with the final boss, and if you can't get through him, you've got no hope of defeating the vampire.
Sophie, please forgive me.
Please save him! Hasn't he suffered enough? Humans suffer, right?
Why? Why am I still alive?
Live your life as a human. Fight your soul once again.
Please wait! Sir Vampire!
You stay here. I shall go.
No! Please let me. I'll hold them off for sure. Leave at once. Sir Vampire has suffered enough.
No. Not this time.
So be it. If this is what you want, I must stop you here.
Vinculum Nocturne is the second last stage in Vampire Knights, taking place inside a ginormous castle with winding glass pathways and staircases. As the camera pans up to examine the area, the space almost feels liminal with seemingly unorganized architecture, windows and pillars that seemingly have no purpose other than to exist. This place almost feels like a twisted imitation of a grand castle, as if someone had only seen it in paintings. The majority of the stage is solely devoted to the boss fight, to a lady in white as she sprinkles herself throughout the many floors and corridors you'll take down. This entire section is just a wonder to blast through. The fact that all the hallways are just empty and don't serve any purpose other than to just get from point A to point B adds to that awfully desolate and empty feeling of this whole castle. After running through seemingly endless corridors, we finally reach the heart of the castle, a circular room full of water.
So you have come this far, but I cannot let you go any further.
Have it your way.
Wait! Why can't you settle your differences? Why do you hate each other?
Humans and vampires compromising. What a silly thing you say, little one. But I can't stop here. The warmth Sir Vampire has given me, I can't turn back now.
The Lady of White transforms into a mermaid of sorts, and has a pretty decent array of attacks, including water tornadoes, chakrams and spears, all with tiny windows to hit her. She'll also dart around in the water, with you only being able to hit her when part of her body goes into the surface, making for many intense moments. This is a really short stage compared to 2 to 4, but a really enjoyable and challenging one nonetheless, with such a striking atmosphere. And with her defeat, we head into the final stage to end the 300-year war.
Little one, what you said may be true. Thank you. And farewell, my beloved vampire.
You, stay here.
But
We must go on from here without you. You must stay here if you don't want to die.
You mustn't die. You must live on.
So this is our destiny. I knew someday this day would come. The fate of light and shadow. To live as a vampire, as an immortal. How I have suffered. Where there is light, there is shadow. What my heart desired, you are my shadow. Let us settle this once and for all. What we started 300 years ago. This battle is for my devoted followers. The end to all.
Sir Vampire is the final boss and the entire focus of the last stage. He has a huge multitude of attacks and forms similar to, well, Dracula that is shown throughout all of media. Many of his mechanics are borrowed from other bosses we've already fought as well, which makes him a bit more predictable, but still a tough boss. We do get some more enjoyable middle school drama acting halfway through the boss as well.
What has changed you 300 years? Where there is no light, there is no shadow. Knowing this, still want to fight?
Our destiny is where our fate takes us.
I shall not be defeated. I am immortal. I am the vampire!
Now, the final boss's transformation does kick up the fighter notch, with even faster movements, more projectiles, and teleporting meteors. You really have to stay on your toes and put that pistol to use if you want to defeat him and end the war.
Reload! Reload! Reload!
I will die. And so will you.
We are not what we were 300 years ago. The girl, she changed us. She gave us the warmth of that of a human. We shall disappear with you.
We have no regrets. It's all over now. Farewell.
The final twist of both players being vampires was pretty cool, to be honest. I do find it funny that this young girl gave him the warmth of a human, despite really only crying for help and asking the most obvious question of why are they fighting. Despite the awkward dialogue, Vampire Knight itself is just such a fun romp. Unique locations, memorable characters that just scratches the right itch. Some of the mechanics from Vampire Knight would go on to influence other rail shooters as well, especially the cancel gauge. There's so much to enjoy about Vampire Knight, and luckily, the PS2 version has even more to offer apart from the original arcade experience. You've got training mode if you want a more intensive shooting experience for practice, and man, even though it's training mode, some of these are really tough, especially the rapid fire sections where I literally had to hold the gun in such an awkward way to just beat the easiest difficulty. There's also mission mode, which basically sprinkles a dozen collectibles and certain objectives for you to complete as you're playing. As you do this, you'll get silver, which will let you spend money at the shop to get different things like shotguns and items that will help you complete the missions faster. There's a lot of replay value here, and if you really love Vampire Knight and want to sink your teeth into more of it, special mode is a great place to go. If you've got a Cinder light gun sitting around, I highly recommend giving this a shot on an emulator. Or if you're still lucky enough to have a CRT, this is a must add to the PS2 collection. Now, I really hope that there would be a sequel one day. After all, we know that a couple of the bosses could have potentially lived, and of course the young girl, so there's definitely options in the future to see them return. And besides the hopeless hope for a sequel, I really do want Sega, Konami, and Bandai Namco just to see that a lot of us still love rail shooters, and hell, even start to port them just to PC, even for Cinder light gun usage or mouse support. House of the Dead Overkill on the PC is amazing with the light gun, and I really want to see more of that added to modern systems. I know they're trying to remake House of the Dead 1 and 2, but they really need to do better with that and add more native Cinder light gun support to the game. Hell, even make some new VR games set in the same universe. That is where I personally believe the arcade shooter has gone. Maybe even take advantage of the Switch 2's new mouse controls and port some games there. I desperately want to see a resurgence in the rail shooter genre, and I will do what I can to talk about as many of them as possible to create hype, even if it takes 300 years. Until then, remember, where there is light, there is shadow. I've been your host, Guaca. Oh, and before I go, I gotta remind you to keep shredding. See ya!
6 months later.
I'm alive. I shall not forget. My heart shall remember all. That day